Presented by Caltech.
When I started social dancing, I was a torso with 2 arms and 2 legs. But after months of West Coast swing, I discovered that I had knees and ankles and feet, and then that my feet had toes and different ways to flex. I learned how to be creative without thinking, how to talk without speaking, how to be brave and how to improvise. But before all this, I learned connection. No teacher can explain connection, but beginners understand it the moment they feel it. And connection means a lot of things in the West Coast community, but it's basically the contact you maintain with your partner, such that any idea the lead has, their partner can immediately follow. Use connection for the starter step, which is where you and your partner find the beat of the music together. Nobody talks, nobody counts, you just feel it, together. You also use connection when you want to give shape to your dance. Here it's the controlled accelerations we will use to define our perimeter. Nobody talks, nobody counts, you just feel it in your hands. So say I as the follow am here, and my lead is there. The lead will walk backward, and the follow comes forward. The lead stops, and you compress. To critical pressure, we usually call 2 pounds of pressure, and then the follow knows to go back, and keeps going backward until the lead stops. There are 2 pounds of pressure, and you come forward again. Compression and extension. This is the shape of all of the basic moves in West Coast swing. We have the sugar push, which is just this, the left side pass, and the inside roll. But there are more complex moves we can do as well. And this is where being a follow gets really interesting, because the lead knows exactly what is coming, has every single move planned, but the follow just has those 2 pounds of pressure and the music. So it's hard to demonstrate without a partner, but a complex set of moves might go something like this. There will be a whip, followed by an inside turn, and then a tuck turn to a hand change into something I think you call the yo-yo, followed by a hammerlock whip into something that I don't actually know the name of. And is this a dip? Yes, it is definitely a dip. And then maybe there'll be a line in the song about spinning or tilted that I totally forgot, but the lead clearly didn't, because just when that line comes on about spinning, he leads a double outside roll, and I successfully spin without tilting, mostly. And something else can happen too. Maybe the lead just stops, and we're connected, so I have about a half second to feel kind of annoyed or bored when suddenly the tempo increases, and he matches it perfectly with an extra fast reverse whip and spin thrown in to match the length of the phrase. Nobody talks, nobody counts, and we start to understand that maybe songs need dancers the way that poems need readers. Now, it doesn't work perfectly all the time. There are unfortunate side effects of being so physically close. As a taller follow, I'm often hitting my head on my own arm as I try to get under the lead's arm. When I spin, this happens every time, and I get him in the face. And I apologized for this once, and the lead said, "Do you know why we dance? For the perils." Which was good to hear, because another time I elbowed the lead right above the eye, and he still asked me to dance 30 minutes later after the blood on his face had dried. Sometimes I wish I could dance without mistakes and just have good dances all the time. But then I realized that there's no difference between that time I made a fool of myself by tripping over my own feet and the time I discover a new variation. Because up until the moment that I find out if it works, they're identical creative risks. So the moment I stop making mistakes is the moment I stop learning how to dance like I've never danced before. There are also risks you take together. Say, the lead's leading something, and I think it feels like a whip, but oh, it's not a whip. And I'm not where the lead expects, and the lead's definitely not where I expect. And we don't have connection. But guess what? The music certainly doesn't stop. Somebody laughs, and we find connection again and are already doing the next move. Because connection means you're a team. And with that come certain obligations and rewards. In a room full of dancers, you only need to impress one person. You only need to look good from 2 feet away in a poorly lit room. That's why It's true. I saw a video of myself dancing, and it was like, what? But it's why leads adjust to my height, and I'll adjust to the lead's skill level. And it's why if the lead is offbeat, I will perfectly match that offbeatness. I have heard other West Coast swing dancers compare it to falling in love just for a moment on the dance floor. the accommodation, the mutual surprise and discovery. Nobody talks, but you communicate with strong articulation. There is speaking, there is listening, there are jokes, there are kindnesses, there are experiments. One lead I know is braver about trying new things and will lead through moves that he knows he has to help me follow. Another lead knows my very favorite thing to do is spin, and so will oblige by leading multiple double outside rolls. And another lead knows, in rank order, all of my least favorite moves, and so he will lead them, usually in their rank order. But sometimes you can have a conversation with a total stranger. One summer I was away from Caltech and the West Coast swing scene, so I wandered into an East Coast swing dance, and something's off the whole night. Either the songs are too slow or too fast, or I'm not following as well as I normally do, but it's just not right. And the kind of guy I would normally overlook walks in and asks me to dance. And I say yes, because you're supposed to say yes. And as the music starts, I'm really trying to focus on not messing up, and I'm wondering if he actually knows how to count, or I'll have to pretend that I'm not upset when I can't follow anything he's leading, when holy cow, he can Lindy hop, as in really Lindy well. And it's like I found someone who spoke my mother tongue in a room full of foreigners. The way I was suddenly able to express myself and remember all of those dear unspoken phrases. When the song finished, he asked, "Do you always smile that much while you're dancing?" And I hadn't even realized I was doing it. Hadn't even realized we weren't speaking until he spoke. One of my favorite moments to watch in a dance is actually the few seconds after the music ends, because there's no rhythm for getting out of the dip or walking off the dance floor. Even if you watch the pros, they too have to resume their human forms, and there's something strange or awkward about the way your partner's thoughts are no longer tumbling freely into your thoughts. So this is usually the moment I take to say, "Hey, thanks for that dance song had beats." I would just prefer that we could shut up and dance, just like Walk the Moon tells us. That it could be like this all the time. Because you see, to dance is to believe that something is true about your body. Maybe it's that you are beautiful, or that you are strong, or that trying and failing are no different from trying and succeeding. And sometimes the dance alone is enough to make it true.